It's the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. Before we get into this episode, if you haven't already, please do take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you're listening to this show at. It helps us go up in the rankings. It helps us to reach more people. And so thank you in advance. I look forward to reading your review and giving you a shout out on the show. All right. Very excited for this episode. I have my guy, Juwan Rohan, out of the Bay Area. Juwan, thank you so much for jumping on the show.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me. It's been a long time coming. I'm excited, man.
Definitely. So introduce yourself to the people, let them know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, my name is Juwan Rohan from the Bay Area. I call myself a progressive entrepreneur just because I'm always building in stages. But yeah, I'm a realtor in the Bay Area, and I have a few businesses that I run, and I'm an investor. So love it.
So tell us about your start in real estate, buying your first property, and what got you into it.
Yeah, first property was pretty recent. So, I mean, I've always been interested in property. But you know, the hardest thing about buying property is getting the money, right? And or learning how to buy property. And so I spent at least a good 3 years studying, which I think a lot of people should do, just to know, you know, because in real estate, you know, that's the good thing about real estate is there's many ways to enter and there's also many ways to exit. And so you're not trapped into, oh, I bought a bad deal or it's only going to be negative. Like, no, there's so many ways to change the deals and structure and fix up stuff to where you can win. And that's why I really like real estate as opposed to, you know, stocks. I love stocks, don't get me wrong, but it's like, no, I say goodbye to my money and I just pray now. Like, right? Like, well, obviously you buy low, sell high, but real estate, there's so many ways to win. But as far as the question, yeah, I studied for about 3 years and I recently closed on one property last year, and it's been going good. I mean, I got some crazy stories about closing day, but it's going good.
Definitely. So talk us through that deal. Talk us through like how you found it, like where it is, like how did you identify that this is going to be the property that you wanted to make a move on?
Yeah, so Stockton, California has been on my radar for a while. I mean, you go back to 2008, the city was bankrupt. They got a really good mayor, Black mayor in there recently. He's done a lot of things for the city to turn it around. The wine county around there has picked up. So Stockton has really appreciated in the last 10 years or so. And I saw that. And with the Bay Area, you know, the most expensive place. A lot of people are moving out of the Bay Area, and with the, you know, now you can work from home, remote jobs available, a lot of people are wanting bigger land for less. And so I started to look on the outer cities of the Bay, and Stockton was on my top list. I had a friend who invested there, and in maybe 8 months made $80K in appreciation. Like, you can't get that in Midwest, right? You know what I mean? So that was on my radar, and I just was looking. I became a realtor, so I knew that I wanted to take advantage of that. And with my company, you know, we get the broker commissions back in our pocket, and so I knew I wanted to take advantage of that. And yeah, just you know, the thing about buying real estate is, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but when I went to go buy real estate, this is why you never look for homes before getting pre-approved. Always get pre-approved first. I'm looking at homes and I'm like, oh, I could afford that. Like, work out the monthly payment in my head. I could afford that. Then you go get pre-approved and it's like, whoa, like they didn't approve me for anything. I can't
Yeah.
wait. I'm gonna buy like a toilet in California. Like literally it's bad. And it's weird. It's just weird how it works because my credit's good. Like my credit was like almost touching 800s. So the fact that I couldn't be approved for anything, not a lot of debt, like that is just, it blows my mind. So I had to kind of be creative in ways to finance it and go from there.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned that because, California, the Bay Area, Southern California, it ain't cheap. So what are some creative things you had to do in order to finance this deal?
Yeah. So I mean, financing it, I had to bring in a partner. I had to bring in a partner. They had to, have their credit ran and everything and be on the deed and the lender, mortgage and stuff. But I knew for me, I needed to get my foot in. So whatever it took, whether it's 50% profit, I needed to get my foot in because that's the best way to learn. And I've already learned tremendous things from being in it. And so I just had to do whatever I could to just get it in there. And the partner I brought in had some money. And so they did their part on saving the money. And yeah, it's been great.
Gotcha. I like that you mentioned partnership because the reality is for the average person in the expensive market is something that we may have to do, especially if we're coming to it from an investment perspective. We're not looking like to house hack or anything like that. And so how did you find the right partner? Two, like, how did you structure the partnership so that everyone wins?
Yeah. So finding the partner, how did I find? That's a good question. I mean, we've been friends for a very long time, probably over a decade. So honestly, it was just random. It was random. Like, on social media, a lot of people they listen to my stuff and they are curious, right? And so I think one day we went to like the gun range just to go hang out, and then we went and sat after and ate, and then we were just talking, and they were like, yeah, I listened to your stuff and I've done my part in saving my money and I'm looking to put it somewhere. Like, what are your thoughts? Like, they already have a financial advisor, but it's cool that they came to me because they see the work that I'm doing. And so that I just was like, well, I love real estate. Like, have you ever thought about real estate? And then it started from there. Literally just a conversation. Like, had no idea prior to like going to the gun range that this person was interested.
Got it. And, I think that shows the value of just talking about what you're doing. You never know who's watching. You never know who could become a part. Like your next partner could be in your text thread. You know what I mean? Like somebody who you spoke to last week. But
here's the thing for the audience listening. Everyone is always watching. Everyone. Like, and you don't know it until someone else joins the boat. Like, and what I mean by this is like literally the last 3 days, I've just had calls with friends that I've knew for over decades wanting to invest. Like, okay, how can we partner? Let's do it. Like, and now when you get to that point, it's like, you don't have to ask for money. Now people just want to throw you money and say, let's do it. Like, I see your work ethic, so tell me what I need to do.
Definitely love it. Love it. So tell us more about identifying the property and when you realized, all right, I think this is going to be the one that we put an offer on. Like, what was it about it? Or were you just sending out a bunch of offers and this is the one that finally got accepted? I know in expensive markets like those, you may have to just submit a ton of offers until you get one accepted. So tell us more about that.
Yep. So the company I work with, unfortunately, you don't have to submit a lot of offers because we have a lot of cool programs that make our offer stronger. So I submitted one offer and one offer only, and one that didn't go over too much. I went over $5,000, and I probably didn't even have to do that, but it appraised for more. So I I already had money in the game from day one. But as far as, yeah, just one offer. What made me like the property is the cottage look and the land. When you buy in California, you're not buying the home, you're buying the land and the space around it. And it's in a really nice part in Stockton. The land is probably the biggest. I just bought land. Like it's probably the biggest in the area. It's right next to a popular canal, right next to the water. All the shops are nearby, central location, everything about it, man, just around. And if I remember correctly, when talking to the listing agent, the property was rented for like 20 plus years. Like the people lived in there for like 25 years, which that's a good area.
Wow. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Did you have to do any work to it, given that they had been there for so long, or did the previous owner do updates? Like, what was it like once you got the keys?
Great question. Someone had already flipped it. So it was, they flipped it pretty much. So it was ready to go. The inspection came back pretty clean. There was nothing. There were some things that needed like, I guess you would say immediate attention, right? You could still live in it without it. But, and so the seller, we just worked out some stuff. They had their contractor come back and fix up those things that we wanted. And so everything was ready to go closing day. But then closing day, some stuff happened. So
let's talk about it.
Yeah, man. So, like, I guess there's like what is this, like a myth or whatever? Not a myth, but like a lot of people are like, like always have reserves, right? And it's so true because like something always happens when you buy a home. I don't know why, but something always happens. And so the day of closing, I get there, got all my IKEA stuff. We're in there and I spend all day just, getting the house ready, like livable, right? And just spend all day there. And then the water heater just starts leaking fast, like at 8 p.m. at night. And wow. I'm like, I'm about to like head out because I'm tired. And it's still, and nothing's done in the house. Like we still need beds, we still need, stuff. So I'm about to head out. It's 8 p.m. Water is everywhere in like the laundry room. But luckily it has the the little tub or tray. So trying to figure out what to do. I had already had a contractor kind of in my pocket and ready to go because we were looking to turn the detached garage into a studio apartment. And so I already had a contractor and I called them and we had to send a plumber out that night. And so that cost money. Then had to replace the water heater. There was no hot water. That was all very first night.
Wow.
Didn't stop there though. Didn't stop there. This place is it's older place, and but a lot of the stuff was new and a lot of stuff is kept up well. But the water heater, if I remember correctly, was from 1993. And I was like, when we bought the home, I was like, that should be going out. Like we should probably replace that. Day of closing, had to replace it. Not cheap, man. Could you guess the price? Could you guess the price?
Water heater, I'm just throwing a shot in the dark at this point. 8,000?
8,000? Oh no, that's a little too high. But we got quoted anywhere from 1,900 to 2,900.
Wow, that's a lot, especially when it's unexpected on the closing day.
Crazy, yeah, crazy. Yeah, man. And then I've had the AC go out maybe 3 times already.
Wow.
Here's the tip though for investors, for first-time home buyers: get the $400 to $500 warranty plan for the first year. I promise you. Spend the $400 or $500. Now, the market we're in, you can have the seller pay for it. Have the seller pay for the $400 to $500 warranty plan for the first year. Save the headaches, because warranty paid for the water heater. They reimbursed it. I had to argue for a long time, reimbursed it. And then they paid for like the first 2 visits for the AC. They didn't pay for the last one.
Got it. Did you end up figuring out what was wrong with the AC? I've definitely had my share of AC issues. So I'm just curious, like what was the issue with it?
Yeah, man, the last the last 2 times, or the first 2 times, it was first time was weird wiring. It kept burning out. Whoever wired it incorrectly to the wrong place. So when it would go, it would just overheat, burn out. So then when we would switch back and forth from the AC to the heater, it's a dual unit, it would just burn out. And so that lasted maybe a month and a half. Then the second time, it was the guy comes in and is like, oh, whoever did this, like they just did it wrong, and he fixed it. I was like, okay, I don't believe you, but I'm not paying for it, so we'll see. And his ended up working. Then maybe like 5 months go by, and this just happened last month. I get a call from a friend who was visiting my property, and is like, yo, your AC is not working. I'm like, wait, what? And like the AC just tended to be like with a lot of debris in it, and when a lot of debris goes inside of it, it stops the coils from freezing, or it over freezes or something like that. And so it really just needed to be cleaned up, but that was expensive. It just everything inside needed to be cleaned up, and like it blows colder than ever now. I was in there last week.
Well, good. Thank goodness you didn't need to replace the whole thing.
No, it's like kind of newer, so I'm hoping we won't need to. But yeah, I was very scared.
Definitely. So did you end up keeping the same tenants, or did new people move in?
So it's short term.
Oh, it's a short term rental.
Yeah.
Oh, dope. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So talk to us about just the decision to go into the short term rental space versus long term rentals. Tell us more about the strategy behind
it. Multiple strategies and kind of thought processes behind that. I had a friend in Stockton do short term, and it did really well for him. I like that idea. I like the idea of, being able to rent out rooms, live in there, rent out rooms, just being able to manipulate the situation. I like that, right? I like the idea of, okay, if the property is vacant for 2 days, let's go throw a party. Like I said, it's the biggest lot in the area, or it's a detached garage. Let's go, turn this into a long-term rental. That way we have secure cash flow. We have a more riskier, but higher cash flow. Oh, let's go build another ADU on the property, because with California's SB9 law, you can essentially build like 4 units on there, and I can fit 4 units on my property. So there was multiple strategies in there. I don't like California's tenant laws. So that was another reason. Especially with COVID, when you can't evict no one. So if you already can't evict no one in California, and then they throw COVID on there where you really can't evict no one, right, you're kind of in a bad position. So I like that idea. Like I said, I like the idea of being able to go to my property and live in there whenever I want.
Definitely. So brand new, was this like your first time being involved in like in Airbnb rental?
No, so I've done Airbnb for a couple years now, maybe. Like on and off and stuff. So I have a couple.
Got you. So what was where did you begin? Like you got the property, like did you already know kind of like how you wanted to furnish it, like what you wanted to charge, like were you starting from zero? Like how did you proceed from then? Because a lot of people who want to get into short-term rentals, right, what they may not consider is like, well, you actually got to have furniture in there. You actually got to have all this. You got to have all these things in place before someone sleeps there. So I would love to hear from you, just like the process that went into setting it up.
Yeah, great question. So I'll just talk in general about all my Airbnbs and show the difference. So what I've learned over starting Airbnbs is definitely furniture is going to cost you the most, right? Just it's not even the first month rent. Sometimes you can get away with that. Like furniture, you got to get furniture. You got to get the necessities that people want. And so, so when I'm in a different state setting up an Airbnb, it's hard because I don't have time. Usually, man, I set up Airbnbs in like 24 hours. No kidding. Like I'll have like my other partner will tend to be there for a couple more days, but I'll just fly in for one day, set up the Airbnb, and then they'll finish like the rest of the stuff. That doesn't leave me time to go and really be picky about furniture and stuff like that. And so usually, but prior, when I'm going through the process of signing the lease and stuff, usually I'll be looking for furniture stores, right? Furniture stores around, or obviously IKEA was the closest IKEA, and go from there. When I'm in California, it's different because now I have time to really focus and put energy into how I want it to look. And I was really excited about that. Like how, okay, it's not here. It's okay. It's on back order for 2 weeks. That's okay. I like this. Let's do it. You know what I mean? We can wait. So stuff like that, or like hitting up OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, you get really good deals, man. Like I got some nice nightstands that probably run you like $120 at IKEA, right? I got them for $20 for two. Yeah. Like stuff like that. You get to take your time. And so I was really excited to do, I like California Airbnbs, as opposed to flying in for 24 hours and just being like IKEA, boom, Home Depot, boom, let's go. But what your audience should know is there's ways to kind of combat that. There's I have a business partner. This is how he scales so fast, is that there's places that will rent you furniture and you pay monthly. And so, and if you're a student or in the military, take advantage of this because they give you like half off, maybe 80% off of their monthly price. So instead of it being like, this is random, I don't know, but instead of it being like $300 to rent furniture for 1 bedroom, living room and a dining room, it's going to be like $119 for military and students. So if that's something your audience is looking into, definitely look into that. I have a list of some cool companies, so they can hit me up.
Dope. For the other Airbnbs you have, is it like rental arbitrage, or is it like properties with like other people? How does that work?
Yeah, it's rental arbitrage.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool,
cool. So if there's huge benefits to rental arbitrage and there's pros and cons, right, to each situation. I think for rental arbitrage, a lot of people ask like, what's the easier way to get started? Rental arbitrage, I wouldn't say it's necessarily easier. I'd say it's cheaper to get started because you don't need a down payment for a house, right? And then furniture and then reserves, right? All you need is like, you could literally get started with rental arbitrage for like $5,000 to $10,000. And you can make that back in 2 months. So yeah. Yep.
Dope. So you get the Airbnb set up. Now, what I would like to know more about is, so obviously with a rental, right? Like you have your cash flow, your mortgage, et cetera, et cetera. However, with the Airbnb, it's like a daily rate thing. So how did you set your target for how much you want to make, considering all the expenses that you have in the property?
Yeah. So research before, right? Research. And I told you I had a connection already in Stockton who did their Airbnb. And so I looked at their numbers, looked at their daily rate, and I already knew what they were making. And so then I looked at the competition around them, right? And looked at their daily rates. What does their home look like, right? That's number one. Then there's also a place called AirDNA, where it tells you like the occupancy rate in the area, how much is the average booking night, etc. It gives you a little bit of information. There's also another website too. I can't remember the name. But there's 2 websites you look at for data, and you just look at do all your research, and then you test it. right? And based on how you set up the home, based on your home, based on what amenities you offer, you kind of test it from there. And so when I first started, as a not as a new host, right? So the thing about Airbnb is you have your profile reviews, but it's based on each property, right? And so when you bring up a new property, or no one sees that you've been a host before, right? Until they click on your stuff. And so I was like, all right, I just need eyes. I need eyes. So we gonna get some eyes here. And so I just priced it super low, like maybe $20 less than what everyone else was pricing it. No, more than that. But and I just started to get eyes. I got my first couple bookings. And then I was like, all right, we need reviews. People, I'm not gonna book a place without a review. I don't know about you, but I need some reviews. So I just had people write reviews. Once I got to like 3 to 5, slowly increase the price. 5 to 7 reviews, slowly increase the price. 10 reviews, we lit. Okay, so now I'm pricing it higher, and then I'm taking the chance of I'm gonna get less party goers, right? Because anybody's gonna want to rent your stuff for hella cheap for one night and then party in it and then leave, right? So I was like, I'm gonna get less party goers and more like business travelers and focus on families. And so it's like I'm gonna rent it at this price, and I'm gonna take the hit on the occupancy. So I'll take less occupancy if that's what it means. And so there was a couple of tricks I played to get to where I want to get to.
Got you. Do you have like a minimum number of nights that you require to avoid some of the party goers?
Mm-hmm. Great question, because I was just about to get to that. I was waiting for you.
We're on the same page.
So yeah. There's a lot of things you learn, man, and I'm still learning. You learn a lot of things being in this, but Airbnb is they're a platform, so they're changing right daily, and so you just got to catch up and be aware. And so when I was pricing it super low, I had a 1 night minimum, just because I was like, I want all the eyes. I want all the eyes in rentals right now. It's okay. Now I started noticing the 1 nights is like people would just book for 1 night, try and party, right, and then that's it. And I'm like, hold on. What can I do? And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna book up. No one's gonna want to pay 2 nights to party, right? They're not gonna want just an extra day. Let me book it up to 2. And the reason I did 2, and I could probably do more, is I talked to a couple of my business partners that do Airbnbs, and one of them was saying that he now does 7 night minimums and sometimes 14-day minimums. And I was like, how are you cash flowing? Like, what?
Wow.
And I was like, I like the idea of midterm, right? Midterm rentals. So I was like, I'm gonna test it with 2. And so now all of my places are on 2 night minimums. I do 2 because some people still want to fly in. Like I got a place in Austin. Austin it's a party place, man. Like, but ain't nobody gonna party on my spot because it's not a party spot, right? You could go right down the street, go right across the street, go party. But like my spot is a business traveler spot in Austin. And I know a lot of people are gonna come in for 1 to 2 nights and do business out there because I got Facebook, you got everybody out there, right? And so I'm like, 7 days is a lot. I like 2. I like 2 right now.
Are you looking for a community of like-minded individuals and access to experts in real estate?
Yeah.
Are you interested in real estate but need more support and guidance?
You know who it is?
The Black Real Estate Dialogue presents the Real Estate Investing Community. No matter how much or how little real estate experience you have, we've created a community for you because your perspective is important. All right, tell me, where's the #1 place where you can do Q&A with experienced guest speakers 2 times per month? How about unlimited access to past guest speakers' recordings? What about a private Slack channel to engage in daily discussion with everybody in the community to share resources and support each other? Head on over to blackrealestatedialogue.com. That's blackrealestatedialogue.com. It's the real estate investing community presented by the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Come join us today.
Got you, man. So amazing. One theme that I'm picking up is partnership. You've referenced that multiple times. Of course, the person who you partnered with on this particular property, but also those who you partner with in other Airbnbs that you do. And so a lot of people feel like they need to be able to do everything on their own. They're not really comfortable working with other people to, on business ventures and so forth. But it seems like you're the complete opposite. So what was it for you that led you to believe and continue to build these business partnerships as opposed to trying to do everything on your own?
Yeah, the first step is, it's going to take forever to do it on your own, right? What's that quote that's like, you can go fast if you go alone, but if you go together, you can go further, right? And it's something like that. But I really like it. It's like an African quote. And it's very true, man. If like I wanted to do this all on my own, it's just gonna take a lot longer. And so, I started looking at partnerships or just people that kind of have the same mindset. And you learn a lot about yourself and about business, right? When you enter partnerships. And if you look at all the major corporations or major business people, they don't do it on their own, right? They partner, they make connections. And so I'm very, key on that.
Definitely. So what have been some of the ups and downs with this particular property so far?
The ups have been amazing. But the downs, there's been some there's been some downs. There's always going to be some downs with which each of my Airbnb properties. Like I've gotten kicked out of one Airbnb. I've gotten lease wise, the first Airbnb, I partnered the deal wrong. So if you really want to talk about, get into these stories, we can definitely get into it.
Let's
as
get
far
into
as,
it.
As far as the home that I actually own, Stockton, like I said, it's a can be a dangerous place, right? But yeah, first week I moved in. The day I put the TVs in, someone knew, they know when the for sale signs go down. So they target that house, right? They're like, all right, let's give them a week to put, and then we're going to try and break in. Dude, the day I put TVs in, someone tried to break into my home. And it was the day that I had brought my ring to set up. I just hadn't set it up yet. And so I was like, man, and the TVs, I'm smart. So I didn't have a chance to put the TVs up. I was like, I'm gonna stash them and hide them in the closet or some. But anyways, they couldn't get in, man, because the door is so strong. So they just broke the door, couldn't get in. And so literally I just set up everything. I set up security lights. I set up Ring cameras all throughout, which I had already planned. I just hadn't gotten to it. Dude, moving in is a lot. So that was crazy. That was first. So we got the water heater. We got someone trying to break in. That cost money to fix the door or replace it. We ended up fixing it because it was still intact. I'm sure some other stuff happened. If I can't remember. Now someone just tried to kick because the property's so big and it's on a corner. So someone just tried to kick the back fence in, and it looked like they got inside my backyard and was just chilling there drinking a beer. They hung up a beer. I don't know. It was weird. So I got to get that fixed now. But stuff like that, man, just owning a home is expensive. Yeah.
Definitely.
But still better than renting. But anyways, yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the other stuff. We talk about partnerships. First Airbnb I ever decided to start. Had met this guy randomly off of Clubhouse. So that was 3 years ago now, back in 2019, and we just started getting to know each other. And he was like, hey man, I'm moving from LA to DC or Detroit, and I don't know what to do with my place. I still got I'm on a month-to-month lease. I could keep it and do Airbnb or what. Oh man, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. I already know, I know the business. It was my first one as my own, but my partner had been doing it. So I was like, let me bring in my partner and we all three can run this. Right. I've been to LA a lot. I was like, dude, LA's lit, dude. The place is 10 minutes from Disneyland. I was like, we finna have, oh my God, the money is finna be ridiculous. And so, I was in LA a lot around that time. So I was like, no, Airbnb. We're staying at Airbnbs. I'm like, oh, this is lit. So we get the place, right? We get it. We structured the deal, right? So the deal was, me and my business partner would run everything. And the guy that's going to Detroit, he just gets passive income, right? And so we are negotiating terms and stuff through email. We decided on the term. I'll tell you that what the terms were in a minute. But anyways, we get to LA, set up everything, 2 days, takes 2 days or a day, set up everything. Cause he had most of the furniture, right? Cause he lived there. It's at midnight. We get back to where we're staying because we didn't end up staying there. We get back to where we're staying, we're about to rest. And my business partner goes to post the home on Airbnb and gets a notification. It's like, sorry, you have to either do 30 days or more, or you need a signed agreement from the landlord. And we're like, huh? Wait a minute, time out. Now, this is where I say research, because laws change every day. Airbnb changes every day. Right. So when we had been in LA prior, staying at all these Airbnbs, the law wasn't up yet. When we went back to actually get the Airbnb, the law was up and enforced. And LA is like one of the only places, well, it was back in 2019, one of the only places that you literally could not post on Airbnb without that information. Other places would be like, yeah, we require landlord's signature, whatever, but you can still post, right? LA was like, nah, you need it to upload it. So we were like, uh-oh, what do we do? Spent thousands of dollars furnishing. The flight was not cheap. And now we have this agreement signed with this guy of we're going to pay him this much, right? And so we were like, damn, what do we do? So yeah, I mean, it was a headache. Kind of how we got around that was we posted it for 30 days. We were gonna like, let's try it. We ended up getting like a lot of requests. So we weren't worried because, LA is a travel destination spot. Mm-hmm. So 30 days or more is not a problem. It's just, we did not work the deal off 30-day numbers. We worked it off of short-term numbers. So for those in the Airbnb, they know it's a huge difference, right? The 30-day numbers and short-term numbers is more, or is different. And so our percentages with a third partner did not work in favor of us for all the work we had to put in to continue this. If it was just 2 people, totally fine. Me and my business partner were like, oh, if it was just us, this is easy, bro. We good. Mm-hmm. But to have the guy just get passive income for literally doing nothing, and he's taking a big percentage of our earnings with the I guess you would call it long-term renting, it didn't make sense. So we ended up just doing it for a couple months. I don't even know if we made our money back. Maybe. I think we made a couple hundred back. But yeah, then we ended up closing that deal. And yeah, that was yeah. We had it for a couple months, which was cool though.
Yeah. What would you do differently if you could do it again?
Research.
Yeah, like make sure you could do it within that building, all that stuff.
Yeah, just market it. And the crazy part is the building had like 8 units, and they were like a Black owned like family. It was like a wife and husband. They were like 80 years old. Wow. So yeah, and they were super nice. So they had a property management, but the guy who gave us the deal, he was like, yo, I can try and convince them to, sign off on this. But the problem is like, yo, we don't have time. Like, they're 80, they respond slow, and it take a while to get a meeting with them. They're 80, And so I was like, oh man, we got to decide now before we start losing money. So I would have definitely researched, and I would have structured the deal differently. If I had known that, but I didn't know that. Yeah. So yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it's interesting that it's so interesting that you mentioned that. And I appreciate the transparency, right? Because a lot of times in business or in real estate, like what we do is based on what we know, right? Like you didn't know at the time that you needed authorization from the landlord in order to post there, right? And now what we're seeing, like in Airbnb, like it's changing a whole lot, right? Like there's restrictions and different things that are underway in different cities. So, I think it's very important for people to hear that story from you. And then I also think it's important for people to, you got to know what's the law is. You got to know, use this episode so that when you want to open your Airbnb, like, what the laws are within the city that you want to invest in, or the city that you want to have your short-term rental in. So I appreciate you sharing that story with such transparency.
Of course, yeah. I think this is probably like the highlight of it, because if you just hear what happened in Atlanta, it's like the same thing where they literally just shut down all the Airbnbs that didn't have that type of stuff, that didn't own their buildings, right? And so it's changing. Like each state is they're implementing these laws. Each city, like it's almost impossible to do an Airbnb in Alameda County over here in the Bay Area. Alameda County is one of the strictest counties. Can't get a gun, can't do Airbnb. Like it's ridiculous, right? So it's important to do that research ahead of time and then structure your deals off of it. Nothing wrong with partnering with 3 people. Don't get me wrong. Nothing was wrong with partnering with the guy. The deal was just structured wrong from novice investors, right? So but yeah, that was the first deal, man. You want to talk about the second one? You got time for the second, or what?
Let's get into it. Whatever people can learn and gain, let's share.
For sure, man. Yeah, these are all my Airbnb mistakes. And like we talked about before this, I got a lot of Turo mistakes. So I mean, I've been in Turo since before TikTok made Turo popular. So I've got like 5 years of experience in wow. Turo. But Airbnb, second one, decided to partner. There's nothing wrong with this partnership. Everything great. We still partner to this day. Was looking at markets, right? And I had a friend, did he get one in? I had a friend start to look at Texas property a couple years ago, and was just like, man, dude, everyone from Cali is moving to Texas. Like, it's a great Airbnb spot, and so I'm like, oh, okay. And he was looking at Austin early. He had caught Austin early on. I was like, okay, but I like Houston. Like, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna look at Austin. So I started looking around in Houston, find this place, and I'm like, oh, nice, dude. The rent, bro, $800 for a 1-bedroom, like renovated, everything kind of new. Like, oh my God, $1,400 for a 2-bedroom. What? This is easy. Like, this isn't a risk for me at all, right? And so talking about business partner, and I'm like, I knew this already. I just wanted quick money, and that's the problem. That's what your audience should know is don't chase the quick money, chase the legitimate money, right? And the do it right money. I was like, man, we got to get this. We can't lose this deal. And so I knew the pros and cons of putting it in your personal name versus putting it in your business name. Do you know anything about that?
Let's talk about
it. So I was like, all right, we have options. Talking to my business partner, he didn't know much about this. This is my area. I'd already experienced about it. I was like, I gave him the options. I was like, which one you want to take the risk on? Like, it's not gonna go on my name because I was trying to buy the home right in California. So I was like, nothing's going in my name right now. But here's our options. We either start an LLC, do it that way. We do one of our LLCs, or blah blah blah, right? He was like, no, let's do it in the personal name. So he decided to put it in his personal name. We were all in agreement. That's cool. So we set up that spot. When was that? That was like November of, was it last?
Where was that at?
It was in Houston. Houston. 15 minutes from downtown, near a lot of hospitals. Great location. So we set up the spot, in his personal name. Everything's going. We fly out, set it up. Like I said, I set it up in 24 hours. He stayed for a week. I set it up in 24 hours. Flew back. We set it up. Dude, here's the trick. I'm not gonna give all the secrets away, right? But post the Airbnb before you set it up. Because when I had went there for 24 hours and I left, someone was moving in the next day. So money, and we had got like no first month's rent was due or no security deposit was due. So we, it wasn't an expensive setup. And so cool, we set it up. Everything's going right. First 2 months, it's in slow season. We set up in November, December, very slow for Airbnb, very slow in general, right? For even the stock market. And so I think maybe first month we had to put $200 down per person. I'm not mad at that. That's a credit card payment, right? Second month, December picked up. Maybe we cut even. January hits around. Pandemic is getting like, a little bit more people are getting worried. So we weren't making as much, right? Soon as we start making money, soon as we like, whoa, nice bank account. He gets a message. Whoa, it was the Super Bowl. Literally on Super Bowl day, he gets a message from the leasing and is like, or it was a phone call and is like, I know you're running the Airbnb. We're gonna have to deal with this. And then the leasing agent hangs up. That was it. Now I set up security cameras at all my places. I checked the security camera and the leasing agent comes up. All she does is knocks on the door. My tenant opens. He goes, yeah, how can I help you? She goes, oh, just making sure this was an Airbnb. Goodbye. That's it. Walks away. And we're like, oh, snap. Wait, what does that even mean? First of all, it's Super Bowl. Literally, friends could be partying at the place right now. Like, that doesn't confirm anything. So I'm like, she's tripping. And why are you like not drunk watching the Super Bowl right now? You're in Texas. Like, but anyway, so we're like, dang, so we're flipping out, dude. It's like fourth quarter. And I'm like, what are we doing, dude? What are we going to do? We got a lease. We just started. We were only like 4 months into the lease, maybe like 5 months, 5 to 6 months. So we still had half the lease. And so we're stuck in this position. And I go through every possibility, I'm like, all right, let's try and convert it into the business name. All right, so here's what happens when you put it in the personal name. Your social security is attached. I start Googling like what happens if you get evicted, because I was thinking she was gonna evict us, right? She was like, all right, 30 days, you got to get out, or 3 days. And I was like, damn, I got to fly to Houston, pack up everything, put it in a storage in 3 days. Like, damn. So I start Googling everything and what it does to your credit. And so it like, I guess it just goes on your credit report, on your background check. So I don't know if it's when you apply for another apartment or when you apply for a job, but I was like, damn, like now my partner's credit, not his credit, it doesn't affect your credit, it's your background. It's going to show up as an eviction, right? And I'm like, dang. But the good thing is my partner never plans to rent because he's a real estate investor. He has a couple homes, he never plans to rent. So he wasn't even worried. He wasn't tripping at all. But I was just like, now I know what not to do. Don't chase the quick money, right? And so I'm telling him what to email back to the leasing agent because I've dealt with this. I know how to talk to agents and stuff like that. And so we're just going back and forth. We're trying to work out a deal. She goes ghost for like a week. She just goes ghost. And I'm checking the camera every day. I still got the tenant in there. I let the tenant know like, hey, we might get evicted at any point in time. I just want to give you the heads up so you can have a backup plan. And he's all, oh, okay, no worries. He was super nice about it. And I'm checking the camera. She never shows up. Nothing, no eviction notice on the door, nothing. Tenant moves out. I make sure no tenants can move back in. We're sitting vacant on this property for about 2 to 3 weeks. No word. And I'm like, all righty, what's happening here? So we end up emailing her again. and is like, so what's up? Like, she's all, oh, sorry, I've been working at another place. I just never got around to your stuff. She was like, I see that you've removed the Airbnb listing. So it's okay. We can just continue on. I was like, huh? That's it? Like, nothing. Just continue just paying rent or whatever. And you know that we're not living there. And so we just tried to work out a deal where we can either switch the lease into a midterm. I got really interested in midterms. What I realized is in that area, a lot of traveling nurses would hit me up and want to rent out the place, especially on Furnish Finder, which is a traveling nurses website. And so I was like, can we switch the lease? We only had like 6 months left. That would, I'll take 2-3 months, right? The only thing is she was like, yeah, they got to get their background check. And I was like, I'm not going to pitch that. No one's going to want to get their background check for an Airbnb. You feel me?
Yeah.
The reason she was unwilling to like let us do Airbnb, and she like I was getting her on my side for a moment. It was like negotiations back and forth, was because right across the street was a school. So they couldn't have sex offenders. And so if we can't run a background check on them, they wouldn't know if there was a sex offender or not in the home. And so that was the only thing. I think I would have turned her over to either have us switch the lease into the corporate name because we had businesses, or, work something out. And I just couldn't do it with that.
Got it. So you pretty much had to write it out until the lease was done?
Nah, so we pretty much, for that month, we had already made profit from that last tenant. So we were good with that month. We had to pay a 80%. They call it it's like a move out thing, right? 80% thing. And then I think she was like, and you'll lose your security deposit. What I say in the beginning, one of our agreements was to not put the security deposit down. So we're like, oh, okay, cool. So that was a thing. And then it was like 80%, which came out to like $1,220. And we just had to pay that. And then she actually gave us 30 days. Usually their rule in the thing is 60 days. You got to pay 60 days, but we worked it down to 30 days. Like I said, in the end, she was really cool about it. I think she just came in on that day and was maybe like, I didn't want to be here on Super Bowl Sunday. It's like, you could have waited till like the next day or something, Monday.
Yeah. Got you. If you could do it again, would you take the approach of doing like a corporate lease, do like an LLC?
Facts. Don't do it in your personal name. Just because you just put so much on the line. You put your name on the line, right? If they can't evict us for the corporate lease, you got people walking in. Those are my employees. Those are my clients. This is in the lease. If you look at a corporate lease versus a residential whatever lease, they're not totally different, but the corporate lease is very vague. Very vague. It says like it will literally ask you who's coming in the place, and you could leave it blank or you could fill it out, right? Or you could say clients and customers or whatever, right? And so definitely do the corporate lease. And reason being is because some of the leasing companies will work with you. Dude, as long as you're paying rent, they don't care, So yeah. Definitely do corporate. So we ended up moving. Good news. While all this has happened, Super Bowl Sunday, I called about 5 places. Yeah. 5 places. I knew my business partner had places in Austin. I was like, give me all the places right now that you have. Call them up. I'm like, can we move in next week? Cool. What's the best deal? Blah, blah, blah. Corporate lease. Hey, I run a business. Here's what I plan to do. I plan to have my customers, my employees come in and out of your building. Is that okay? Yes, that is okay. Cool. Let's send over the lease. I'm gonna sign it. Flew out the next week. From Houston to Austin, it's about a 2-hour drive. We rented a U-Haul, transferred our stuff, set up the Austin place. Already was listed. Guess what? Already booked right when I left. And Austin, man, Austin money is different than Houston. I'll tell you that. Again, for your audience, do your research, because I thought Houston would be, lit, popping as far as Airbnb, and it was. It's just more certain months. In Austin, bro, every month, every weekend, done. Why? Because it's different type of money out there.
Definitely, man. So what does the future look like for you? Do you want to continue to buy properties and do short-term rentals? Is there anything else that you want to do within real estate? What does the future look like for you?
Yep. Future looks like for me, definitely want to get more homes. I'm actually, like you are, I'm looking passively. Right now I'm trying to turn that passively looking into like hard looking. So,
Yeah.
but right now I'm looking to really partner and expand that way, as fast as I can. That way I get my experience in, I get partnerships, and I get other people's money, right? Because when you use partnerships, let's say me and you were to go on a deal, right? We partner on a place and we start to figure each other out, and stuff. Okay, well now you have this platform, so whoever is listening to you might want to reach out and partner with you. Okay, right? I have my platform now. Whoever is reaching out, now we start to build our own sphere of influence where we have all these people saying, hey, how can I get into this? Okay, well, my goal is to get into luxury real estate. Okay, now obviously luxury real estate is expensive. Two people is going to be hard for us to do it, right? How many do we need? We need people with money, right? And so once you start to work with partners, then other partners come. And that's kind of my end goal is I do want to tap into luxury. um I'm not gonna say Airbnb because Airbnb's changing, man. Airbnb, Turo, any business they change, they always change the laws. And some of the laws I'm not liking that they're changing with Airbnb. So I actually want to get my own clientele, my own business. And I think that's totally possible when I work with people like yourself, like the people at Black Wealth Renaissance. When I work with these people who have a big sphere of influence, that's our audience. Our audience doesn't need to be the random people that go to Airbnb and look to party, right? It could be business travelers. It could be, I love traveling nurses. Traveling nurses got money and they really take care of your stuff because they're never there. They're always in the hospital 12 hours a day. All they use the Airbnb is to go sleep and eat their takeout food. That's it. I want to get into that.
Definitely. Awesome, man. Well, Juwan, let the people know where they can reach you, where they can check out your podcasts, and where they can tap into everything you have going on.
Yeah. So I can be reached at Juwan Rohan Music on all platforms. That's JUWAN ROHAN Music at all platforms. You can tap in with my podcast, the Misguided Podcast, where I intend to guide you to a better direction. I don't just talk about real estate. I talk about how to build wealth through business. It could be any business, notary, stocks, random. I've interviewed people with random businesses that are pretty cool, but anything that helps you build wealth through business. So check that out. Had some really cool guests on there. You've been a guest on there. You were one of the first guests, so you got to go way back to find Sam on there. But now it's growing into something, and I'm liking where it's going. So I love it. But yeah, reach out to me. I'm also a realtor in California if you're looking to buy or sell and get some discounts. I got you.
Gotta make that plug, man. Well, Juwan, I appreciate it, man. I think, this has been an interview full of transparency. A lot of times the highlight reel is shared, but I think it's important for people to know and learn from the challenges other people have had so they can hopefully avoid those things in the future. So I appreciate you being so transparent with that. And wish you nothing but the best, man.
Thank you. Yeah, and from following me and stuff, like I try to be as transparent as possible, and that's why I started the podcast, The Misguided, because I'm trying to guide you and be transparent. If you look at anybody that has success, like Grant Cardone or Robert Kiyosaki, they all talk about the mistakes they made 20 years ago or 10 years ago, right? I should have did this, I should have did that. Well, I'm telling you the mistakes I'm making now and how you can avoid them. And I think that's kind of like what separates me.
Definitely. Well, appreciate it. Thank you again for coming on the show. And thank you to everyone for listening to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue Podcast. Definitely be sure to leave us a 5-star rating and review if you haven't already, and I'll read that out on the show. I look forward to hearing from you all soon.
Hi everyone, Sam here from the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Make sure to hit that notification bell and that subscribe button and to visit us at blackrealestatedialogue.com.